What if Black Americans became their own nation? I mean, hear me out before you clear me out. Check this. There's over 47 million Black people in America. That's more people than Canada, Australia, Greece, Portugal, and over 150 countries in the world. We could easily be our own nation. Like, let that sink in. Black America pulls in $1.8 trillion in annual spending power, and that number's still climbing. If we were a country, we'd rank among the top 20 economies in the world. Our GDP would outpace countries like Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Sweden, and Switzerland. And yet, we don't own what we consume. We make everyone else rich off our content, our trends, our talent, but we don't profit. If you look at pop culture, sports, fashion, tech, and entertainment as a vehicle, we the engine, but we don't own any of the vehicles. When it comes to music, hip-hop generates billions globally. We created that. The sports industry, dominated by Black talent. Fashion, our style, our swagger, our influence, the trends we set are copied worldwide. Tech and innovation, from hidden figures to modern coding culture, we've always been behind the scenes, yet none of the ownership is ours. We perform, they profit. We build, they bank. We create, they control. So ask yourself this: if we're really this powerful, this essential, this impactful, why are we still at the bottom? And I ask this question, not to everybody, this just to the racists who hate and can't stand Black people. If racism is so embedded, if Black people are the problem, if we're always the ones being blamed, why won't America just let us have our own land? Why wouldn't America just let us be? Because deep down, America knows it can't survive without Black people. They fear our independence because they profit off of our dependence. Letting us go would mean losing trillions in consumer spending, losing the culture engine that drives the nation, losing a massive piece of its labor force. It's not about love. We all know that. It's about control. It's about exploitation with a smile. You want to know why they can't pay reparations? It ain't just about money. It's about land, resources, and autonomy. When you look at the contributions that Black people have made to America, 246 years of unpaid labor, generational trauma, redlining, Jim Crow, stolen wealth, systemic policies that block advancement. If you being real and honest about the history of this country, we are owed, and it's a massive debt. But reparations wouldn't even have to come out of any taxpayer pockets or anyone else's. Just leave Black people alone and watch the entire community prosper. Let Black people have their own. That's how you pay reparations. Let us start our own banks, our own schools, our own tech hubs. Let us build our own cities. Let us buy land and create self-sustaining economies. I'm not talking about seceding, so don't get your panties in a bunch. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about real opportunity. Because if 47 million Black people pulled their dollars, their talent, and their energy out of America's economy, Wall Street would crash and major industries would collapse. If there was complete Black unity, and Black Americans were allowed to build global alliances with Africa, the Caribbean, and even Asia, create a media empire that tells our story our way, establish military defense, tech innovation, and global trade routes, that's not just scary to America. It's revolutionary, and it's scary to the world. If we did ever unite, we wouldn't need America. America needs us, and they know that. Regardless of whether people want to admit it or not, it's a fact. We already have our own language that we speak, Ebonics. We have a shared history, a shared struggle, and a shared cultural identity. Black people are a nation of people in a country that was built by Blacks, but not for Blacks. We're a self-sustaining people that makes everyone billions but ourselves. Imagine if we put our money into shit that actually matters. Imagine if we ever did actually unite, stop buying into everyone else's systems, and started building our own.
You think about it. They've earned their shit. Black people are getting where they're getting to. What, aren't Black women the most educated in America?
Most educated.
And this is coming from you not letting Black folks read. It was illegal for Black people to read. This is from Black women slaves being raped every day and worked on medically with no anesthesia. And they're still the number one in education. What is that saying about your race? You're mediocre at best. You had a 100-year head start, and everybody's whooping your ass.
You're going to get your behind in trouble.
I'm ready for the smoke. I got my shoes on. What's good? I'm just saying historically.
I like it that you're telling the truth.
I have white friends that are educated about this. You got Tim Wise. You ever heard of Tim Wise?
Yeah, Tim Wise is an old friend.
This is what I'm saying. Tim Wise.
By the way, they hate him.
You got Jane Elliott that are speaking to George Carlin was one of my favorite comedians. So there are lots of whites that know this knowledge. It's like this panic is coming from the wool is being being pulled out over. You know, people are saying, shining a light on, you've been mediocre all this time. And I'm not saying there aren't great white folks and smart white, but a lot of your shit has been unearned.
No, what I'm saying is
tens of millions of people, black people.
Black people
Okay.
who would get that.
Yeah.
It would bankrupt the whole country.
It would bankrupt the whole country. But for the people that built the country to make you the fucking money.
Yeah.
You understand? You know, all of a sudden now you worried about being bankrupt when you spend trillions of dollars on defense, trillions of dollars on unnecessary bullshit, trillions of dollars to send black men, especially to jail, trillions of dollars to drug the fuck up our whole country, trillions of dollars to fuck the food up, to fuck the air up, to fuck the water up, trillions of dollars to make people sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker in this country, but you mad? We don't have the money because, and this is what I think, and this is what I believe, you just don't like black people. Plain and motherfucking simple, you do not like black people. It is very obvious. For hundreds of years, we've been the most hated. The most hated, but within that hatred comes the hypocrisy of loving our culture. You've made trillions off of our motherfucking culture. You know that. You've made money off our culture. Let's be real.
100%.
You've made money off our culture. White musicians, all of them have made money off of black fucking culture. All of rock, all of jazz motherfuckers, all the shit we created from the oppression, which is fucked up in itself. The oppression and the fucking abuse and the rape and the putting down of us, we create blues, jazz, rock and roll, reggae, ska. We invent all of that shit. And to top it off, we invent all the modern shit that you all use. From the video game cartridge, Henry Lawson, huh? We got the pacemaker, Otis Boynton. We have the late Dr. Bath, who created the laser eye surgery. We have Dr. Gladys, who's still alive, who's almost 80 years old, who created GPS. We have the guy who created the algorithm for Instagram, who's a 21-year-old Ghanaian kid. We've done all this shit. Then the internet was discovered by a Nigerian guy in the 80s. Like, we've done all of this innovation, even though we've been shit on and continue to be shit on every motherfucking day, right? Because nobody wants us to live anywhere. Nobody wants us to have this unless we're playing sports for them. Like I said, unless we're academically, right? No, I'm sorry, athletically or sexually satisfying motherfuckers. That's all black people are good for. We're supposed to be at people's beck and fucking call when they want us to entertain them or make them some kind of money. But if we ask for being autonomously wealthy on our own, being autonomously having our own shit, all of a sudden everybody pitches a bitch. Everybody has a fucking hissy fit. People get mad when you don't want us in your neighborhood. You don't want us in your schools. You don't want us doing anything. But then when we say, hey, okay, that's cool, because Muhammad Ali said in the 60s, he said, hey, man, I think we should have our own state. I don't want to live amongst you motherfuckers. They were like, well, why not? You don't want us around. You're segregating everything. And then as soon as we want to go, white people start panicking. White people panic. But, you know, we don't want to be around you, so you can call us niggas, and we're tired of white cops shooting us. We're tired of this pissing contest that these white cops have because they're afraid of black dicks for some fucking reason, because most of this shit is black dick envy. We're tired of that shit. So what about this? Why don't we just give us what you owe us, and we can go on and do our own shit? But no, they don't want that. White folks especially hate autonomous black happiness. They do not like when we are by ourselves doing our own shit. They cannot stand that shit. They don't even like us in a group. Like in Chicago, there used to be a thing.
We pledge allegiance to your flag of the United States of America and to your republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for who? For you? For some? Not for us, not for our people. So please stop saying we equal with your flag of red, white, and blue in one hand. You beat us until we're black and blue with the other, beat us until we're none, beat us until we can't walk straight. Then you put us in chains if we lucky. But for the ones of us who aren't so lucky, you tell us to put our hands up as some type of sick tribute to your privilege, and then you pull the trigger into our bodies laid down on your ground. Pull the trigger until your clip is empty. Pull the trigger until we make your evening news. And then when our children cry, we have to look our children in the eyes and tell them that they have to be cautious. That when they walk your streets, they have to do so in fear. That they have to spend an entirety of their life looking over their shoulder, because you will hunt them down and you will bury them, either in a prison system that aims to disenfranchise them or the dirt beneath their feet. And this is all because of that same racism that you love to say no longer exists. But we all know that that same racism is the reason that when we want to put a hood on, we resist. The reason that when we go to get these jobs, we're dismissed at the door. The reason that when we go to shop, we're watched in your stores. That racism is the reason that us saying your Pledge of Allegiance feels a lot like a root canal, or a whip's impact against our flesh, or a baton to our head, or a bullet in our back, or tear gas at a Black Lives Matter protest. That racism is the reason that 3 women clenched their purses as I walked through the entrance of this very building. It hurts that I have to remember that the system I was born into was built to work against me. Hurts that I have to remember. Hurts that I have to remember. Hurts that I have to... Hurts that I actually have to remember that you will happily invest more money into the preservation of wildlife than you ever will into the preservation of black life. Let me ask y'all a question. When y'all turn on your TVs and witness another black body laid out on your concrete, what do y'all see? Another murder? Another sad story? Another funeral? Do you see the aftermath? I see another child that lost their father, another single woman trying to raise a man, another broken home which leads to another child that grows up and suffers the same fate as their father, which means another black woman that outlives her adolescent son. This country practices a culture that lacks equal rights for blacks, and we love to say that black don't crack. Meanwhile, y'all shatter our melanin like glass. My back breaks for everybody you lay at our feet, for every memory I try to erase within your war zones. Late nights reveal that my PTSD has found its way to the surface. And my hate for this country reminds me that I'm far from patriotic, so it's a little ironic that I pledge allegiance to your flag of the United States of America and to your republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for who?
Being a black woman is knowing when the fight is not yours. It is letting America pay for her sins and transgressions. We will not save you this time. Tell me what you know about being disqualified for being overqualified. Knowing too much and might do the job too well. Code switching my tongue to standard English just to be micromanaged by someone who calls themselves an ally. Feed me propaganda. Greet me with African American vernacular they learned on TikTok. They say it's the new Gen Z lingo. They have no idea the origin of this breakdance language. We're living in a new era. The descendants of sharecroppers are now the new corporate baddies. Systemic racism, cowards, and envy hate to see all this prosperity on us, so they took back their affirmative action in the name of equality. Fine. Keep your DEI initiatives and programs. Haven't we been here before? I'm not shocked by your inherited ignorance, the colonization in my blood, in your blood. I come from a lineage of women who marched with swollen feet and pregnant bellies, hunted by the smell of burning flesh in Jim Crow South. We are not new to this unsolicited grief against our bodies. When this truth fully dissolves in my skin, I am a protest waiting to happen at sunset. I know too much about riding at dawn for what you believe in. When copper skin is exalted until it becomes a threat, the vultures will come and try to confiscate our skin, our culture, our charm. Billy, they will give us a national holiday, but there is still strange fruit swinging.
This poem is inspired by a Facebook post where I asked black people, if you could write a letter to white people, what would you say? Dear white people, I don't even know where to start. In between my busy schedule comprised entirely of surviving white America, there is simply no time to write letters. Besides, any letter I write will most likely bring tears to your eyes, and I, for one, have had my fill of white tears. There are days I think you aren't worth my ink, that your whiteness is draining me of too much energy. Can't give you a taste of the tea for fear you'll colonize the whole kitchen. But today, I am too angry to remain silent. Dear white people, stop making everything about you and how uncomfortable you are. I honestly don't give a flying fuck about your comfort level. You have made my very existence an exercise in discomfort. It is time for you to make room at the table. Better yet, go sit in the living room. I am not here to coddle your feelings, not here for your amusement. No, you cannot touch my hair. This isn't a damn petting zoo. And stop coming into my office asking for the managers if you aren't already looking at one. Dear white people, stop telling me about this colorblind society you allegedly live in. Telling me you don't see race is the racist drivel I hope you choke on. Telling me you respect me but don't see my color is like saying you have to pretend I'm not black in order to respect me. But let me assure you, I am black, though there are plenty of things I'm not, like your sassy black friend. Stop saying, hey girl, when you see me. You ain't that slick. I hear the way you talk to Becky and Steve every day. You sound like Vacation on Martha's Vineyard, where you spent summers waiting in the bitter blue of the Atlantic. How I wish my toes could touch the ocean without stepping on the bones of my ancestors. Dear white teachers, why don't I know who my ancestors are? Why is only one part of my history important enough to teach? And for the love of God, stop swiveling your heads every time slavery is mentioned. Newsflash, I wasn't there. And just because I'm the only black person in this class doesn't mean you can ask me to speak on behalf of my race. I believe you really care about the opinion of black students when you stop shutting down conversations because I call a white student racist. Dear white people, why do you hate being called racist more than you hate racism? Why do you listen to Tim Wise over actual black people about the black experience? Dear white people, stop using black on black crime as a reason we shouldn't be outraged by the murder of black people by white cops. If a black person kills a black person, they will go to jail, and that is what we call justice. If a white cop kills a black person, they will get paid leave, and that is what we call justice. Apparently, justice is when a black body dies. Dear white people, every time we've written white people, we've written it in lowercase because we are tired of you capitalizing on our pain. We are angry and raw and tired and angry and raw and tired and tired and tired, but we will not rest because we know the future belongs to those who prepare for it, and you have been getting us ready for centuries.
That doesn't even make any sense. Black women are the shit. They age the best. They got the best bodies. You motherfuckers age early. Fuck you. You feel me? And you copy everything from black women. You dance like them. You talk like them. You ever see other races when girls want to get an attitude? They do this shit. They go, I see Asian girls doing it. I see Latin girls. It's black women shit. Right? Yeah. You get everything from black women. Even gay white men steal shit from black women. Girl, honey, the fuck out of here. Black women are the trendsetters, man. Of course, black men are too. But Gina Rodriguez is...
Listen to what Jane Elliott says about the Native Americans.
We're still teaching that Columbus discovered America. We're still teaching that those people who lived here were called Indians because of Christopher Columbus. It's all a bunch of hokum. It isn't true. The first people that inhabited this continent and every other continent on the face of the earth came from Africa. People from Africa came to what we call the North American continent between 20,000 and 10,000 years before Columbus was a gleam in his father's eye. What we call black people were here before there were any white people on the face of the earth. There were no white people until enough people from Africa moved into the northern climates, and their skin, their hair, and their eyes got lighter as they were exposed to less and less sunshine, so their bodies produced less and less melanin. That's the only reason my skin is this color, because my great-great-grandparents came from Ireland, which is in the northern climates. We don't teach the truth to kids. I don't think they teach the truth to kids in Europe either, because we all seem to think that the most important thing you can be is white. There is no such thing as a white person.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but Jesus was not crucified on a Gucci cross. He didn't have on a crown of Versace thorns or Nike shoes on his feet when the nails pierced through. There was nothing bougie about Calvary. That old ruggedy wooden cross wasn't even befitting to hold the carpenter's son, but there our God hung, held on by his love for us, by his love for all. It wasn't a red carpet affair for your favorite celebs. Matter of fact, the only paparazzi was an angry mob as a crowd of witnesses.